Engaging feuds and storylines are what make the WWE so great. And despite falling in popularity, the PG era has featured some very good ones. The 10 best storylines of the WWE PG era. The Miz's resurrection. For years, the Intercontinental Championship was falling in prestige, until one man made it his mission to bring it back in 2016. The Miz cut a vicious promo on Daniel Bryan, full of emotion, and suddenly, everyone had to tune in to see what The Miz would do. Although this story with Daniel Bryan is ongoing, he has been engaged in brilliant feuds with Dolph Ziggler, which ended at TLC. Even if it doesn't end in the dream Miz vs. Bryan match, the resurrection of the underrated Miz has been a must-see in 2016. Faction warfare. WWE has a very rich history of factions doing battles, but maybe none were more anticipated than The Shield versus the Wyatt family. The build-up for the bout between these two factions were great, and the match they had resembled an all-out war. Following this, The Shield went on to battle Evolution before their own demise, and this was one of the most enjoyable things happening in WWE at the time. It will go underrated against others on the list, but it's easy to forget just how good it was. Triple H versus Randy Orton. This one was built up over a very long time, as fans remember back in the Evolution days, and it added to the personal intrigue of the rivalry. The two were set up to battle at WrestleMania 25 for the WWE title, but the story of hatred ran much deeper than the belt. The match might have flopped, but the story leading up was captivating, with many shocking moments. Orton attacked Triple H's wife, and the game returned favor by attacking the Legend Killer at his home. You might not have liked the end result, but there have been no stories of hatred that were ever more personal than this. Straightedge versus Living on the Edge. This feud was the highlight of 2009 and was the best thing that SmackDown ever did during the PG era. This was CM Punk's coming out party. As real-life animosity proved, he was one of the top heels in the game, and it played perfectly into both his and Jeff Hardy's character. Punk tried to push his straight edge lifestyle on the Daredevil Hardy, and it resulted in incredible heat, which proved Punk was an incredible heel. The duo also had a TLC and steel cage match, which will be remembered as some of the best in SmackDown history. Undertaker versus HBK. The story of back-to-back Mania matches was great in itself, but was further helped by how iconic the performers and matches are in wrestling history. The first match was just a test of legend versus legend, but the true storytelling masterpiece happened in the lead-up to the rematch. Shawn Michaels became obsessed with The Undertaker and even put his career on the line. As we all know, HBK was defeated in two classics, which combined wrestling and storytelling absolutely perfectly. HBK versus Y2J. This is without a doubt the least PG storyline on the list, but it will be at the top of both men's best career rivalries. It ended just after the beginning of the PG era, because there were some very non-PG moments throughout. Y2J punched Shawn's wife, put his head through a TV screen, and it ended in one of the best ladder matches in WWE history. This was incredibly personal, but something that both men will look back on very fondly. The split of the Shield. Ever since debuting in 2012, the Shield dominated WWE, and it seemed the only thing that could stop them is themselves. Well, much to the shock of the WWE Universe, Seth Rollins took that sentiment to heart. After a clean win over the Evolution, Rollins turned his back on his brothers, setting up his rise to the top of the main event card. The moment was incredibly shocking, but the sellout story following it made the split worthwhile, as all three men are in great positions currently in the WWE. That pipe bomb. The WWE was falling in popularity in 2011 until an industry revitalizing promo from the voice of the voiceless. During that speech, CM Punk called out everyone that he could until his microphone was cut off, and all of a sudden, WWE TV was must-see once again. This led into weeks of him teasing real-life contract disputes with the WWE and ended in a 5-star classic at Money in the Bank against John Cena. WWE may have screwed up the summer of Punk, but the lead-up to Money in the Bank was the best TV WWE had done in years. The Game versus the Phenom, the sequel. After a better-than-average match at WrestleMania 28, fans were excited to see what these two men would do, but they had a third Mania bout in store. Neither man had been seen for some time on WWE television, so the moment when these two came face to face was spine-tingling. The two proceeded to have an emotionally fueled, hard-hitting bout inside a Hell in a Cell that will never be forgotten. Add in the Shawn Michaels elements, and this was a story that you couldn't help but be thoroughly invested in. The rise of Daniel Bryan. No superstar has gotten over like Daniel Bryan in the PG era, and he rode this crowd connection all the way to WrestleMania 30's main event. For almost a year, the Authority did all they could do to keep the B-plus player down, but in the end, organic crowd support won out. Bryan wasn't meant to even be in the title picture, but a lackluster main event between Batista and Randy Orton was disliked to the point where the company had no choice. On that night, Bryan won an amazing match, and the crowd response, as the confetti fell, was one of the most emotional, heartfelt moments in history. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to TheSportster. And remember, WWE may be hard to watch most of the time, but if you hang in there, sometimes it gets entertaining.